Happy Monday. It is officially week 1 of my cut. So the previous 2 weeks, I was just getting my body back on a ketogenic diet, running on fat versus carbohydrates. And I have videos all about that. This is documenting my first week on a cut. So I'm gonna give you my stats right here. Excuse my gross look. I just got back from my training session with Jonathan. So the last 2 weeks, I was eating about 1640 in calories, focusing on just my carbohydrates. I wanted a maximum of 50 total carbs and 20 to 21 net carbs. How you find out your net carbs is you take your total carbs, subtract the fiber. And you want to avoid a lot of sugar, alcohols, and processed foods as well. I use monk fruit if I need to sweeten anything, or swerve, but I still use it very sparingly. You want to kind of ease your body away from that need and that craving of sugar. And I was only focusing on my carbohydrates, eating about 1640, and to be completely honest, it was actually hard for me to eat 1640 in calories being on a ketogenic diet because fat just burns slower. It's a more efficient fuel, and I don't feel like I need to eat as often. But I forced myself to make sure I ate 1640 because I knew I was going into this cut and I didn't want to be starting from too much of a deficit. So 1640 is a small deficit. My age and size, I think my daily, and I have to get a DEXA scan to like really calculate everything, but my daily to maintain is probably about 1700. We were just at a very minor deficit and focusing on carbohydrates. So for week 1 of my cut, and I'll be checking in every week and maybe halfway through the week with Samantha to make sure my macros and everything are making me feel okay. We're cutting my calories to 1544. Protein goal is 91 grams. Carbohydrates is 25 net, 50 total. So we're raising my carbohydrates to 25 versus the 20. Fat goal is 120 grams. And then ideally I would intermittent fast 3 times a week. I work out 5-6 days a week to begin with. So prep for today, I spent a good hour last night making sure all of my food is prepped and the macros fit within my overall goal. So one of the biggest tips that Samantha gave me was to pre-plan what you're gonna eat for the day the morning of. I don't have time in the mornings, so I did it the day before. And I had made our keto chili in the Instapot for the week for Chris, and I wanted to eat that for dinner tonight. And then I also bought stuff to make my own Cobb salad. So this saves money. I know exactly what's in it. I can also play with the macros to make sure it fits within my cut. And then I also wanted to save a little piece of chocolate from Lily's as like a treat tonight, and my favorite treat, which is cream cheese, salsa, and pork rinds. So I'm not gonna be able to eat this throughout my entire cut, but to slow my roll into it, to kind of like get my body into it and to give myself a little treat in the beginning. That's what I like planned my meals around. I already had my first meal. I forgot to document it, but it's from Real Good, and these are a lifesaver. These aren't the perfect macros for me currently, but they're great for Chris, and they're buy one get one at Ralph's this weekend, so we stocked up. We have a couple different options. These are the sausage, egg, and cheese, and you've got 6 total carbs, 18 grams of protein. So these are great for Chris. He needs more protein in his diet. And then these are also no grain, no gluten, and there are some fat. And then I have these for myself. These are little snack pizzas. This is not what I'll be eating today, but I might incorporate this in the rest of the week. These are perfect because they are really easy to make. They also make poppers, and Chris has some pizzas for himself. They're great when we're out all day and we need to eat, but we don't have a ton of time, or we run out of our meal prep foods. Keto chili I made for myself and Chris yesterday. I don't know that I'll be able to eat this every week because this one is very high in protein, but I have to kind of throw in some extra fat to get my fat in if I eat that. And then Chris has been making himself some sausages in the morning because he needs more protein. This is everything for my Cobb salad. I weighed out my chicken, my egg is hard-boiled, some blue cheese, some bacon that we made last night, and I will just add it to my iceberg lettuce, which is already washed, chopped up, and ready. And then I have my salad dressing. These are also good if you're in an emergency. These don't really fit with my macros, and they kind of screwed me up last week when I had one, but they're really, really filling. Might come in handy later on in my cut. And then here are my chocolates pre-divided as well. So I just pre-divided everything, and that always helps me from overeating. I even, so I also have some Jell-O, and then I have lots of LaCroix and stevia to help with my cravings of soda, because you guys know I have a huge soda craving. So it is taking a lot of time for me to just plan out my food, but I'm really excited to really dial down on my nutrition, my macros, and do this cut. It was cool. I went to go train with Kowalski this morning, and he was like, "You look really good." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on my cut, but I haven't even started cutting yet." And then I realized, okay, I need to just accept his compliment. So I was like, "Thank you." Do you guys have trouble accepting compliments? Because I do. And he said, "You look great." I should have just said immediately, "Thank you," instead of giving him an excuse as to why I would look good, which obviously, like, I've been training like crazy, and now I'm dialing in on my nutrition. FYI, I am being guided, and if I get hungry, like super hungry, I'm gonna eat. Like, this is not about starvation. This is not about not getting the right nutrients. This is just about figuring out what my body needs to kind of get back to a place that I really want to be at. If you have issues with not eating enough, if this is triggering to you, I would not recommend watching this series. I would maybe, if you want like workout advice and things like that, I have my workout videos. This is something that I've never done before in my life. I've never restricted calories, and I've never dialed in this much on my macros. I wanted to do this for myself to kind of up my personal journey with my fitness and health, and I wanted to see what kind of results I could get using science and having two amazing people guide me. Jonathan's a certified personal trainer. You've seen him a bunch on my channel. I trust him with everything in terms of fitness. And then Samantha is studying to be a nutritionist, and she's already very well versed to begin with, so the certification is just going to make her that much more official. This isn't about anything other than something I wanted to challenge myself and I wanted to do for myself. And I talk about why I'm on this getting fit at 35 journey. It's not just about looking and feeling good in my clothes. It's truly like, I can't explain it other than it's helped me so much emotionally and mentally, and I feel so much stronger. I feel less lethargic. I'm not feeling as down all the time. I'm gonna be honest, I still get those mood swings and I still get very down, but they're not nearly as frequent or as long as they used to be. And I never regret a workout. I never do. It makes me happy. I could have the worst day ever, and if I go train with Kowalski, or if I go to a fitness class, or I just go work out at the gym for 30 minutes, I am so much better, and I am so much more able to deal with the amount of stress and pressure that I put on myself. It's just better. I'm sure if you guys watch my main channel, you've seen my progression, and just, I'm a happier person, and this makes me happy. This is not by any means where I'm like, you should do this, or this is for you. I don't think that. I'm documenting this for my own personal journey and growth, and maybe it will inspire you and motivate you to be on your own health journey and your own fitness journey, whatever that definition is for you, because everyone has to define that themselves. So this series is just to kind of show you another aspect of it. This is me currently 2 weeks into keto after one meal. Relaxed. So you kind of start to see my ab definition. I definitely want to get this area more defined, but that's just personal preference. This is what my arms look like. And then I will have before and after photos as well. But it's not just about this, you know? It's about this too. And this strength. Day 2 of my first week of my keto cut. Night was a little bit rough because I got a little tired. Like, came 7 o'clock, I was just exhausted, but that has a lot to do with probably my intense workout with Jonathan, plus I was just really stressed. We were go all day yesterday, which kind of made me not hungry until later in the evening. And I'm trying to eat dinner earlier because I want to do intermittent fasting, but I don't want to not be able to eat till like way late in the afternoon. So I'm fasting currently, and I'm allowed to eat at 1 p.m, but I'm going to be a little behind. I'm headed to the gym to get my workout in. I'm doing just my TRX homework from Jonathan today since I trained with him yesterday. I'm quite not like super sore because we do functional training, so I'm allowed to work the same muscles because it's full body. I definitely feel it. So I think yesterday's workout was a lot harder than I thought it was, but it was a great way to start the week, and I'm excited for today. I'm a little bit hungry, but not super hungry, so I'm gonna work out, and by the time I get back here and shower, I will have made it to my 16-hour fast. It might be longer than that. And intermittent fasting is not new to me. I've done it when I first started keto. It kind of just boosts any diet plan you're on, and it really just helps your body and your digestion have time to rest and recuperate. And there's a lot of science behind it, and I encourage you guys to do your own research about fasting if that's something that you're interested in. It's not right for everybody, but I do enjoy it, especially kind of to give my cut a little extra boost. I'm having a weird lunch / early dinner, but I have another meal later tonight. So last night what I did was measured out all the ingredients for my Cobb salad for the perfect macros and kind of put that there. And because yesterday when I was pouring my dressing, it exploded into my salad and made it a little bit of a mess, I had these ramekins left over, and I don't think I would ever purchase these again because it's disposable plastic, but since I already have them and they're just sitting in our cabinet, I am using it to measure out my dressing for the day. It's 2 tablespoons of the Caesar from Primal Kitchen, and then I needed a little extra fat, so I had a 1/4 tablespoon of avocado oil added to this dressing. So that's all pre-measured from last night. I weighed out my iceberg lettuce, which is 4 ounces on my weight. And I'm gonna put everything in here. So this has got some chicken breast, blue cheese, bacon crumbles that Chris made for me, and free-range pasture-raised eggs. So that's 1 egg cut up. And this just makes it so much easier when you're busy. Also when you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of hungry now. So the good thing is I haven't been super hungry all day. I did have my breakfast sandwich with my cold brew as breaking my fast, and kind of a weird timed breakfast. And now I'm eating my lunch a few hours later, and I will have my dinner, which today I wanted a treat, so I made sure my macros fit in line with my Real Good pepperoni pizza snacks. And I'm gonna shake this up, pour that in, and eat it. Oh, and I already had my 8-ounce cold brew. The good news is I planned enough food and pre-made enough food for Monday through Thursday. Bad news is I don't know what I'm gonna eat tomorrow, and I don't really feel like going grocery shopping because I'll have to change up what I eat for next week when I get my new macros and calorie count. Day 5, I fasted for a little over 16 hours, and I'm breaking my fast with 3 eggs, avocados, all made with ghee, and everything but the bagel seasoning with some Himalayan pink sea salt. So I'm excited to eat this. I had to up my egg because I needed more protein today. So I just finished filming 2 videos, and I'm going to take my supplements and have my snack now. I thought I'd share with you guys what I'm taking currently. This is ashwagandha that helps with my stress management, you know, mood swings. I have my Ritual Essential Prenatal Vitamin. I take 2 of those, and I pay for them myself. I've been doing it since January. I love them. Favorite prenatal I've taken. And no, we're not trying to get pregnant just yet. It's just what my doctors recommend. And then I would take ginger root, which is just good for overall balance, digestion, and, you know, lots of stuff. So the thing about supplements is I prefer capsules versus tablets because your body can digest it a little bit better and quicker. And then this is the magnesium capsules. I take 1 because being on keto, plus it helps with overall adrenal functions and that. So, but being on keto, we definitely need that. So that's what I take every single day, plus my Mondo, which was already taken in my coffee. And then if I need anything else, I'll add it. I'm always messing around with my supplements because I think, like most things, your body changes, you change, and you gotta go with the flow. Week 1 update. So I figured I'd sit down and share with you on Sunday nights how I felt for the entire week and kind of my takeaway with everything, with my before and after photos, as well as my upcoming goals for my macros and my calorie count for the upcoming week. I emailed everything to Samantha. Starting out for week 1, my total calories was 1,544 calories. Beforehand, I was eating just under 1,700 calories. So we cut my calories. Then my protein goals were 91 grams a day. My carbs will always kind of stay the same. It's 25 grams of net carbs, 50 grams of total carbs. Net carbs is total carbs minus fiber. So a lot of fiber-rich vegetables are totally okay to eat on keto. Fat, 120 grams, and I was told to intermittent fast 3 times a week if possible. So throughout the entire week, I was able to stay within a 5-gram variance of my macros. And for most of the week, I stayed at 1544 in calories, if not a little bit less. Today, I'm gonna have 12 calories left. Yesterday, I had 13 calories left. Friday, I only had 1 calorie left. Thursday, I had 2. Wednesday, I had 4 left. And on Tuesday, I was over by 1 calorie, but I don't even think about that. And then Monday, I was over by 2 calories. So not a huge variance, just like within a 5 calorie variance, it's not that big of a deal. And I ate pretty much the same foods all week, which was homemade. Intermittent fasted 3 days out of this first week, and what I found was that intermittent fasting with trying to eat all of my calories at the right macros was actually really hard for me because I was very, very full. I felt like I wasn't really hungry, but I had to eat all of these calories. Because I'm also on keto, fat just burns slower, and fat is a more filling fuel versus carbohydrates, in my opinion, because while when I eat like a thing of pasta, I'll feel really full, I burn it a lot quicker. It's a quicker burning fuel. I found that 3 days a week was all I really needed to fast. As I cut down my calories, fasting is going to be very important to maintain my hunger levels, and there's a lot of science on why intermittent fasting can work for certain people and the benefits of it. I find that intermittent fasting keeps me from overeating and snacking all day. It prevents me from binge eating and emotionally eating, which are 2 things that I struggle with when I'm bored, feeling sad, depressed, anxious, just a lot of things emotionally. So it keeps that at bay. 2, I notice that I don't feel as bloated. I wake up with a flat tummy. I don't feel like stuffed all the time. I don't feel bloated. I definitely notice a difference when I fast versus not fasting. I find that it keeps my hunger levels at bay. It helps me realize, am I actually hungry right now, or am I just bored and I want to eat, or am I feeling sad and I want to eat, just wanting mouth pleasure? Those are some of the benefits I noticed from intermittent fasting. Now, another thing I know that a lot of people promote intermittent fasting is, 1, it gives your gut and your digestion time to recover from working all the time. If you think about it, we're working our guts and our digestions all the time now in modern day society because we're constantly eating, because we constantly have food readily available. And our body is amazing. Our body will adapt to almost anything and figure out a way to work and function. Back in the olden days, we definitely didn't eat all the time, all consistently, because we either had to hunt for food, gather for food, or there would be winter and we'd have to ration out our foods. Food wasn't just as readily available. So the concept behind intermittent fasting is that we give our guts and our digestion time to catch up, time to rest, and kind of like just give it a break. We try to give all parts of our bodies time to rest and recover, like working out, our muscles, and all these things. We never really truly give our guts or our digestion system time to recover anymore. So that's like the basic kind of concept behind intermittent fasting, and also what I have found beneficial personally. If you're looking into it, please consult your doctors, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. There's a ton of research that is going to explain it much better than I am. I'm really good at explaining skincare and reviewing beauty products. This is something that I will understand in my head, but to share it with you guys, it's not always like the clearest way. There are definitely better people out there on this platform, on Instagram, on blogs, on Google that will explain it better. Now, my biggest thing with any research you do about health and fitness and diet and science in general is that you're gonna find what you're looking for and you're going to be swayed based on that posting. So make sure you read both pros and cons and make a decision for yourself. Weigh your options after reading a ton of material, after asking a bunch of different people for and against. Try it out. If it's right for you, you'll know. If it isn't, it won't be. But with anything, it's going to take time to adjust. I feel like the first week was pretty easy. My biggest tip for this cut, and if you're going to start tracking your macros, which I had never done ever in my life, plan your meals the night before. I know Samantha told me to plan it the morning of, but once I wake up, it's like nonstop go, go, go. So it's easier for me to plan what I'm gonna eat the following day the night before. I measure everything out as you see in the video, and this way I just throw it all together and I know what to eat. And I really just have to remind myself to eat during my eating windows. I didn't feel like I was bored with the foods because, again, being on keto, I can eat the same thing for months and not be bored of it because it's so rich and tasty, and I don't feel like I need variety. I did find myself out yesterday with Chris because it was Saturday and we went to the beach. I made sure I ate breakfast and lunch before we left the house, and then I had told myself I was gonna get a Starbucks cold brew as a treat for making it to Saturday, and so that's what I got and drank while we were out at the beach. But then we went to a couple different stores and we were just kind of like wandering around, and I got really hungry. And Chris needs to eat way more calories than I'm eating. He's trying to actually bulk and put on muscle. We were at the food court and I told him to just get a snack, and he actually got 2 snacks while we are out. One, I was shopping around at Sephora just swatching products and seeing what was new, and he went to Chipotle to get himself a keto approved Chipotle bowl, and he ate that. And then we went to another mall, and I was starving at this point, and I knew he needed to eat more before dinner. So we stopped at Charlie's Philly cheesesteak, and I told him to just order something without the bread, and they were very accommodating. They made him a cheesesteak without the bread, and it was fully keto. It looked delicious. I actually took a small bite. It tasted amazing. He was like, "Are you sure you don't want more?" I'm like, "I don't want to screw up my macros." I did take a bite of his Charlie's steak, which I didn't end up vlogging, but I'm not that concerned about it. And then when we got home, we made dinner, and then I ate my snacks, and it was good because I'm not fasting over the weekend. Overall, I felt I'm gonna tell you my measurements from when I first started keto the second time around, which was 3 weeks ago, and I'm gonna tell you my measurements before I started my cut, and then I'm gonna tell you my measurements officially as of today, which is the end of my first week of my cut. After this, I'll come out of the cut, hopefully maintaining the results I gained during the 6 weeks, and then I will hopefully be able to just intuitively eat, because I don't want to live a life where I'm always counting everything. I don't think that's a healthy way of living, and I've never done it to this extreme. This is just an experiment and a challenge, which I feel like I'm ready for. So after my first week of getting back on keto, my waist is 32 inches. My lower belly, so the thickest part of my belly, is 37.5 inches. My left thigh was 23.5 inches. My upper arm was 13 inches, and my under boob was 31.5 inches. After 2 weeks of being on a strict ketogenic diet, monitoring my carbohydrates, and staying at 1,700 calories a day max, I didn't always hit that. My waist was then 29 inches. My lower belly, which is the thickest below belly button, 35.5 inches. My left thigh, 23 inches. My left upper arm, it was 12 inches, and my under boob was 29.5 inches. So you already immediately saw a difference. And then, or there's measurement differences. And then as of today, after 7 days of being on my first cut, my waist is now 28.5 inches. My lower belly is 35 inches. My left thigh is 23 inches. My left upper arm is 11.5 inches, and my under boob is 29 inches. Now, in terms of weight, which I hesitate to talk about because I'm going to be losing fat but gaining muscle, ideally, that won't necessarily show on a scale. My current weight is 142 pounds. My starting weight in June, which was my heaviest since getting off of keto, was 146 pounds. I've lost about 4 pounds so far since getting back on keto and then into this cut. I don't expect my weight to drastically drop. It's more about the measurements and the photos. But overall, energy wise, I felt great. I had plenty of energy to work out. I have been sleeping pretty well. I don't feel hungry. I'm not tired. Like, everything's pretty normal. In fact, I feel pretty good because I haven't been stressed about what I'm gonna eat, and I haven't been worried about what I'm gonna eat because everything's been planned out the night before. The only thing I would say the downside of this whole journey is that I don't really eat with Chris anymore. We're eating separate things. We might eat the same things, but we're making it separately because he needs different macros and different calories. And I'll be fasting, and he can't really fast because he needs to eat more food. That's something I feel like is the only negative side of this cut, is that we're not really having meal times together, which is something we used to always do. Going to events and meetings is really hard because I am surrounded by amazing food and treats all day long, and I get to go to amazing cafes to have meetings, and I pretty much just say no to everything. Luckily, everybody's really understandable and they know, and it's LA, so they don't really think it's weird, because normally when I'm on keto, I can still like have foods or I'll still order a drink, but because I'm really tracking my macros, it's really hard for me to like have an extra coffee or graze at the cheese table or salami table or whatever. Other thing I want to keep in mind is I am trying to eat whole foods, but there are times when I will eat like a real good pizza or a real good breakfast sandwich because they're delicious. It is a frozen food item, but that frozen food item has the perfect macros for me. It's also made with real food. Sometimes convenience, you have to kind of like hit or miss, but I do try to at least have 1 or 2 meals that I prepare myself. All of the eggs, all of the beef, all of the chicken that I'm consuming is grass-fed, free-range products because I do want to eat as clean and as whole food as possible. I'm still taking my supplements. I'm trying to drink a lot of water. I am going to plan a cheat meal, possibly a cheat day, or like 2 meals in that one day, probably in the next week or 2 weeks. I'm allowed to have 1 cheat day a month, technically. So once we get into this a little bit, because this is week 3, I might have a cheat situation in another week, right back to it. So we got invited to a tasting at this amazing restaurant, so if that coordinates, or I might just decide to have like some of my favorite foods on a day that I decide. But the goal is to make sure you plan out your cheats, and you don't want to have it every week because then you'll negate all the work you did Monday through Friday if you decide to have a whole full free-for-all weekend. If you're curious about my personal trainer or Samantha, who's guiding me on this cut, I will have their information in the description box. If you guys have any questions about keto, intermittent fasting, what I'm doing for this cut, anything at all, even like personal training wise, fitness wise, anything, any questions, leave them in the comments section so I can get the answers for you for next week. And if they're personal questions, I will answer them as well in next week's check-in. Here's to next week. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. I hope this video helped motivate and inspire you to live your best and healthiest lifestyle, whatever that means that is for you. You have to define that for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys back here in my next video, which should be up on Thursday. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I like to post motivational things and sometimes just like being honest with what's going on, because it's not always all happy unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes it's not. It's like really sad and not so good. But I think it's important to document the struggles as well as the positives. So have a wonderful rest of your night, and I'll see you guys back here. Bye!